Hello and welcome back to Satisfactory. In our last episode we did a run through of kind of what my plans are for the smelting area in conjunction with I showed off a spreadsheet that I've been working on for the last probably a couple of weeks or so, where I am planning out what I'm going to do, how much I'm going to make of everything in this base in the next over the next many episodes. So in this episode we're going to actually start building the smelting area up top. But first we need to take some alternate recipe. The one I'm going to take is radio control system. We're actually going to use this one, so that's the best one to take. And then I want to look at Caterium chain. Yes, that's 6 minutes. That's 3 minutes. That we can't do yet. I don't know. I'll take this one, I guess. I have 169 of the high-speed connectors, so I have plenty to do. Actually, you know what? I'll take this one because it clears most number of slots in my inventory. Although, to be fair, if I do this one, it clears 3 slots. If I do this one, it gives me 5 more, plus clears 1. So that's 6. Alright, so 3 minutes. Hopefully I'll remember to check the MAM. By then we should be upstairs. The next thing I want to do is here. I want to take as much of these as I can, hopefully all of them. Yes. And I'm going to unlock the last research that we have to unlock here at the hub, which is the hazmat suit.
Milestone reached. With the new hazmat suit and iodine-infused filters, you will be protected against uranium-based radiation.
Uranium-based radiation. That's very specific for some reason. Okay, so that is everything we have available. Obviously, there is a Tier 8 that is in here, but we don't have access to it yet in early access. Or in the experimental, for that matter. So I've collected a handful of things. I have some alien bits that won't actually fit in here. I'm just going to chuck them down here for right now. Just because I don't want to carry them around. So I did a bunch of exploration, by the way, and I've gotten 10 more hard drives. So we should be able to do a lot more research and unlock pretty much all the rest of the recipes. And hopefully, specifically, all of the recipes that we actually need. So while that's going on, I'm going to try and keep an eye on the clock and work and look for the 3-minute time to chime. I'm going to remove this, starting here for sure. Probably here as well. This one's going to get filled in. So we talked about having one line for stuff, one block for stuff as a bus, a raw materials bus, one row for a walkway, and then one row where there could be a hole missing where I'm outputting things. So we need to take out, at a minimum, this smelter. And unfortunately they are completely full. So we're going to have an inventory full of copper ore and copper ingots. I'm going to take out this one as well. Here. And this as well. Uh-oh. Speaking of inventories full, let me put down just a regular box here. Organization. Personal storage box. I'll put it here in the middle of the walkway so that I remember that it's there. And I'm picking up a lot of stuff. Grab. That up. And then we'll take that one out there. And I think that's all of it. Okay. So, how is the... we finished the analysis. Good. We now have 5 more slots, which would have been useful a moment ago. But that's okay. And then I'll go ahead and do this one, which will unlock Power Poles Mark III. And then we'll get back to hard drives. So 6 minutes. Try and mark that time. So the first thing we're going to set up here, smelting-wise, is copper ingots. And copper ingots we're going to do as the copper alloy ingots. And for that we need 7 buildings. 7 refineries. No, 7 foundries, sorry. So let's do production foundry. So this line here is that I'm standing in is going to be the belt ushering the ingots out. And do I want to... So, while I'm building this, do I want to try and be fancy a little bit? Or how fancy do I want to try and be, I guess is the question. You know what? I think I'll just align it with the edge of the block like this. And with the edge of... As close as I can get without going over the edge of the block anyway. Because as much of the hitbox as the actual 3D model itself, I don't want it to go over. So we'll go there with the first foundry. And that'll be kind of our starting point. I'm already out of rotors. How am I out of rotors? Okay, well I guess I need to go get some rotors. So by the time we get back with the rotors, hopefully the MAM will be done. But they're not too far, because they were the second major assembly we set up way back when. Feels like it's been eons since some of this stuff was set up. This one? Nope, that's the first one. Then it'll be the next one here. I think I'll just grab 200 and put back the 8. Just so we have plenty. And then can I use my rocket booster here? I'm going to actually come here and let it charge back up and then jump back up there like that. And then switch back to the Deuterium shoes so that we can run faster. That's 2. Hopefully I don't run out of... I'm going to run out of frames, too. Doggone. 3. 4. 5. Well, that's enough to A, get us started, and B, help us to realize that we probably don't have... we might have just barely enough space here. I'm not sure how long the other arrays are going to end up being, so we could end up running out of space and needing to extend this area. But if we do, that's fine. So just thinking about this a little bit, copper alloy ingot. 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're gonna have to just move this. This is gonna have to get go. Gonna have to get go. Yeah, gonna have to get gone. Here and there, and once again. And what I'll do is I'll keep these ingots in case I need to feed the alclads, but I don't think we're gonna use that many alclads. So the only problem here with the way that this is positioned is either... Or is this far enough? This might be far enough. Let me see. Needs to be a splitter anyway. I think it's there. 1, 2... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. That seems awfully close, but I think that's how it fits. Because if I snapped it here, what I did the first time, that's where it fits. So that's just how this model works, I guess. So that's the right distance. But the problem that I'm potentially going to see is that this, and if I care or not, is this is not centered in the block. But do I care? Or do I not care? I probably don't care. I'm more concerned about the outputs being centered. That way I can go straight down the middle of the block. And we're not using anything anymore. I should put this back in so I don't fall down the hole. But having the outputs being centered so that the elevator can go straight down. I think that's a more important thing. And then for these, I'll probably just leave... Well, actually, I don't need to leave any space. So then we could say, well, the Caterium would be here. The merger for the Caterium. So that'll be output in this direction. Like that, in the center of this block. And then the Caterium is being done... Since the Caterium's coming in here, I figure that's a good place to do Caterium. That we don't have to zigzag the ores is too much. So Caterium is made in the smelters, which is good because then I have smaller buildings to use. Caterium, we need 5.1 smelters. So if I start this one at the same place, which is to say on the edge, or as close to the edge of the foundation as possible, without going over. Should I go over with the hitbox, but not with the... that's the output anyway. Should I go over with the hitbox? I think I should. I think that's the way that it would look the best. Because then it looks like the machine is right up to the edge of the foundation. And also these are smaller than one foundation wide, so they fit nice and tight in here. So then we'll go 2, 3, and of course our MAM is in the way. And it's done anyway, so we'll go ahead and finish that up. So, alien organisms. Done. Caterium. We have 2 more left, both of which need supercomputers, so those will be done at the end of our rebuild, because I don't think I'm going to build any supercomputers until then. Well, how many do these take? 50 and 50. So, yeah, I'm not going to hand build 100, that's for sure. Flower petals, long done. Mycelia, done. Nutrients, done. Power slugs, done. Quartz, we have 1 left. I could do this one. I have all the stuff. Okay, we now have radar technology. Not that we're going to use it. I'm toying with building 1 just to build it, but not that we're going to use it. And sulfur is done. So we literally have 2 more left. Remind me in many episodes that I have 2 more left to do once we build the supercomputers. But that's it for now for those. So let's do a hard drive. Start a hard drive up. And then we'll take this out here and put it in over here in my designated walkway so that I trip over it all the time. Actually, maybe I'll push it a little bit behind the walkway. That way it's a little bit... I'm still in the walkway. Okay, good, fine. And you are scanning a hard drive, as you can see. Alright, so we have 3. We need 6 total because it's 5.1. 4, 5, and 6. And then that'll mean that the splitter goes... let's see. Probably don't need to be 3 away here. But 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 is there. And we'll go up there. And just to test it out, that is the correct space. And then this one's in the wrong spot, of course. Nope, I want to delete it first. Because it needs to be aligned with the output of this guy. And for that matter, just for posterity, this one needs to be right about there. So that it is centered this way and aligned squarely with that guy. Alright. I guess I can set these recipes for Caterium. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which is 5.1. Now, there's a few things that I can do here. I can make 5 at 100%, which all use 4 megawatts apiece, and then do the last one at 10%, which is going to use basically no power. I don't know if will it tell me how much power it's going to use? No, it has to be at least powered and probably running to tell me how much power it's going to use. But I know from experimenting with the refineries ages ago that at that point we needed 2.25 refineries, 2 refineries at 100% plus 1 at 25% used more power than 3 at 75%. So I probably will experiment with these a little bit and see exactly where, if there's a sweet spot on power, and maybe that'll be a good kind of analysis episode of how does that work? How does the power curve work when you're underclocking? Because if we could do 6 of them at like 80 something percent, whatever the number is, versus, is that too far? No, it's right. Okay. It's got a very wide hitbox, a lot wider than the machine itself is. And yeah. So for these, by the way, and for these as well, the power is on the back here. The power connections right there, and the power connections in the back of the smelters. So I want the power poles to be on this side, which is a good reason, potentially. Let's put the power pole out here, which power poles I think I will keep in this line right here, which would be on the edge of the bus. But also, are you doing anything anymore? No. And no. On the edge of the bus and on the edge of the walkway. Although, you know what? I actually should put it one space in case I decide to fence off the walkway. That might be better. So let's put it like that. So now, if I put a lift in here, I either want the lifts to go way up to where the power line runs kind of where the lift would be, where the stuff is lifting, even though that's technically clipping, or I want to just go with like here and do the crazy sloped belts in. We could do either. On one hand, I don't like the sloped belts. On the other hand, I don't know that I really like the clipping, even if it's like that or like that. And I don't know that I want to go that high up either. But we'll see once I get everything planned out up here as far as where the iron's going to come in and what, you know, what level it's going to be on and whatnot. And then we can go from there. That's something that doesn't have to be decided right now. Okay, and then this one's power will also be right here and go over to here. One in from the edge. And actually what I should do first is make sure that the fence does go there properly, and it does. Excellent. So that works. Well, so this is going very fast. And this belt here of petroleum coke is going to get moved. I don't know where yet. I don't know how yet. But I'm going to have to move it. I'm assuming. Let's see. So we have... What else up here? We have copper and deuterium. The alternative would be to have not started at the very end, but instead to have started somewhere near the middle. For aluminum, these aren't going to be up here. They're going to be down below, because these are taking ingots and making a product, and I only want ingots to be made up here, and I'm kind of counting concrete as ingots. So I already have a lot of space, because, well, we have this space here. But on the other hand, iron and steel are going to take a little bit of extra space, because we need to smelt iron into ingots and then smelt those ingots into steel with the coal, which also means we need to bring coal up here somehow, which I haven't figured out yet either. Probably along the bus and then cutting off and into here somehow. So iron is all right here, and we need... How much iron do we need total? Iron ore, we need 339 ore, according to the plan, which means that that's less than 3 Mark 1 pure nodes, and we have 4 right here. So since we have 4, there's no point in making, well, in making, what's it called? In making any iron down, or making any steel down at that end of the bus anymore. We might as well just take that part over and bring it in. Actually, you know what might be a good idea for the coal, to bring the coal onto the bus, is bringing it along that 40-meter height that I brought it along this far to get to quartz down, or to get to black powder here. Just keep continuing it on that same height, and then bringing it up at some point over here in. That might be a better option. So maybe instead of putting bauxite in between, maybe bauxite should be over here. The problem with that is bauxite needs to be mixed with copper ingots to make the alclad, but iron needs to go past this then to get made into copper alloy, iron ore. So maybe I shift bauxite this way, since bauxite's coming in on the train anyway. And I make iron starting down there. But then again, that's an awful lot of space for iron. Let's look at what we need for the bauxite chain, just to see what all we're actually going to need. And then we'll look at the iron chain as well. And then, oh, here's a crazy idea. We need 240 limestone. That could either be one pure node running at 240, i.e. this one. If I crank this up to a Mark II miner, or two of them running at Mark I miner. Now, last time we talked about, well, Mark I miners only use 5 megawatts, and Mark II miners use whatever it was, 15 or 12 or something like that, something more than double. And that we were going to use Mark I's whenever we could, so we didn't have to fiddle with anything. But why, if I make limestone over here someplace, make concrete rather, why bring limestone in from all the way over there when I can bring it in just straight here? Like, literally straight here. If I either shifted bauxite over there tighter against caterium, or I stuck iron and steel in between there, and then shifted bauxite over here, concrete could go right here. We only need, let me see, concrete, we needed 2 refineries making concrete. So that much space is all we need for concrete right there. And given that, I'm tempted to just make concrete like right in here. So let's imagine first of all that we move bauxite over there to be in line with the belt coming in from the train. Yes, that's what it's called. It's called a train. Let's also do, instead of running all the way down to the other end, I'll just set one up right here. Let's also take a look at our hard drive. Rubber concrete, flexible framework, expanded pocket dimension. Well, the sort of rule is take a recipe other than the space elevator recipes whenever you can. So I'm going to take this one, even though we're not going to use rubber concrete. And I'm going to get this out of the way because, yeah, it's in the way. So if I make refineries for the, and I don't have any motor. How do I not have motors? Okay, well, if I imagine refineries coming in and straight down the middle of that, is there a reasonable straight down the middle? Is it straight down the middle? No, it's slightly off-centered. It is slightly off-centered. So if I imagined that the refinery would end, say, right there, and then the next block would be used for making, for piping and belting out for bauxite, that would be this one. Let me just say, let me mark it like that. How far over did I come here? Okay, so I need, if I want to do the lifts, I need to go the full 3 spaces. So the refineries aren't going to be as easy to arrange. Because see, this one is back from here and it's still not centered here. So in fact, the refinery needs to be back from... If I want these to be centered, and I do or do not care. I probably want to care. So the bauxite refineries, instead of being... Let's see here. Instead of being 1 meter back, they need to be, I think, 2 meters back. This is where it is. Yeah, they need to be 2 meters back. So that puts the refinery 1, 2. Oh, that was too many. It was 1 too many, I think. Some of this stuff's sometimes tough to line here. Puts it there, which puts it very close to the edge of this one here, and too close for that belt, where that belt is. Because we're also going to need to have the 3 spaces here as well. Well, wait a minute. Is that the 3 spaces? 1, 2, 3. No, that's only 2 spaces. But if I'm only moving it 1 more, something's not adding up. Something is not adding up. Do I have too much space here? No. But let's just say that these are close to the way bauxite's going to work. That means bauxite's going to end... Yes, I went very close there. Not that that horribly matters, but I did. So it's going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks at least. Maybe 12 for good measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this could be where bauxite ends, which means that this would still have to come over a little bit, but I could turn the miner, point it this way, and then come up with a lift or something. So we could potentially do what's it called? Limestone coming in right here, which would work out okay. And then those take up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces total. So that would mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean that this is the end of concrete, which gives us not enough space here for iron and steel, because we need to have a row of smelters and a row of foundries. And even no matter how many we need, we still need a whole row. So instead, I think I go back to maybe shifting the bauxite all the way this way. Putting iron and then putting limestone down on the end. Alternatively, I just shift bauxite over a bit more here. Put the limestone in over here instead. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So limestone could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ending here. And then we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which would end bauxite here. And then we just do iron steel over here, which might be better. Well, let me think. What all is... Or let me look, rather. I'm going to look at my spreadsheet real quick. But I'm going to see what all is concrete used in. It's used in encased industrial pipe, heavy encased frame. And that's it. Everything else is just for the mall. So, does that matter? I don't know if that matters or not. I don't think it matters. I want to jump down again. And I want to look. So if I'm starting to make copper down there, that means that steamed copper sheets... Oh, I can't make steamed copper sheets here because it's not tall enough for a refinery to fit. Shoot. How do I handle that now? We need... we're making out of the copper ingots fused quick wire, all-clad aluminum sheets, and steamed copper sheets, and fused wire. Okay. So the other option would be to not make this be a square, like to cut out the part that I don't need up here and have a railing or whatever to make it look nice. But and then making the steamed copper sheets over here. Now we already talked about that. The foundries for the copper we're going to run pretty much to the end of this foundation. But if the steamed copper sheets were kind of behind the Caterium here, then that would be okay. The aluminum... Jump, jump, flying. Ooh, I barely made that one. The aluminum, how much of each machine do I need? So the first piece of aluminum is alumina solution. We need 4 refineries for that. We have 3 currently, so that's just a little bit more space out. And then the next one is the aluminum scrap, I think, which we need 1.33 refineries for that. So that's still less than those. And then the one after that is the aluminum ingots, and we need 3.33 foundries. That's 3. That's if I do the pure aluminum ingot. So that means I need to also be able to manage where I send... Oh, that's what else I was going to do up here. Quartz. So I need to also plan to bring quartz up somehow and over here. And that might just need to go... Where is quartz in relation to here? I think quartz is... Well, there's where the belt of coal comes up. So I think the quartz mines are like right underneath those assemblers there. Or so. So that stuff could be brought like this way and then up and even across here. Interesting. I'll have to think about how to bring quartz up. But I don't think I want to keep extending this that way further. So in that case, if I'm bringing quartz this way, I could bring the limestone this way. Maybe it makes more sense even to use that limestone rather than this one. I think I will move... Well, you know what? I know what I can do. I don't entirely like it, but I know what I can do. I can move all of this stuff this way. And somewhere in this way. I'm not sure exactly where yet. And then I can have my segment of the factory that brings the water up over here. and then some space where I put the refineries for the steamed copper sheets down below. That's open. I'll have to figure out how big that needs to be, but that's open. Kind of like you can look down into it. Because we needed, what was the number again for steamed copper sheets? Steamed copper sheets. 11 refineries. Holy cow. 11 refineries. That's more than I was expecting. So that's not even going to work either unless it's a very large area. Well, I guess it can be a very large area. It wouldn't hurt to be a very large area. So maybe I do that instead. So we have like our walkway here, and then we have a railing here, and then the refineries were like 5 blocks, so we need 11 of them, which means that we're going to need 2 rows. I can double up on the middle one, so that's like 9 foundation squares. So 1, no, don't do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that means I can't even start copper smelting until here, if I do that. Or so. Which shifts everything that way, but I don't necessarily see that as a problem. Because none of the buildings are that tall, except for the refinery and the like the coal plants and stuff like that. So that might be a better option, to have basically like a large open area up here. Let the light shine through, for one thing, since there aren't any lights in this game, and do that. So maybe I'll between now and the next episode, I will move all of that stuff over, or remove all that stuff and redo that foundation, and that way I have room to put the refineries down below. So I'm going to take Caterium wire here because it's a regular recipe, etc. There is still, by the way, one recipe that I'm looking for, that I need. That is turbo rigger motors, I believe. I think that's the last one, unless I took it earlier and I didn't mark it. I forgot it. I'll have to double check, but that's one I'm still watching for here. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna remove all this stuff. I'm gonna change the way this works so that this is basically just a bus and a catwalk here, instead of starting to do the manufacturing here. And then have like the copper belt and the Caterium belt coming along this way, and then starting wherever it was that I was starting it at. I think that'll be better, right about here. So I think that's going to be a better option, so that way I can accommodate everything. And I think that's where we're going to leave it today. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.